Uh, Thomas, are we good on audio visual? Okay, well, let's call the meeting to order. It is actually, are we early? 3:59. Okay, all right, great. Let's start with attendance. I think we have everybody here, so probably don't need to go through the full roll call. So great to see everybody here. And also, thank you very much, Station 54 for hosting us today. We very much appreciate it. It's something that we started doing this year. Well, I should say restarted doing, but in the past, I think it was before COVID, would go around and have meetings at all the different stations. This year, what we're doing is every other meeting, we're going out to a station, and then on the off times, we're meeting back at the Public Safety Center. And one of the things that we're trying to do is bring in some guests to help educate us about some fire-related issues. So one of the things we'll talk about, maybe I'll bring that up in my report. So let's start by, Thomas, do we have anybody from the public?
No, we do not.
Okay, all right. Then in terms of the minutes, assuming everybody had a chance to review the minutes, do we have any edits or corrections to the minutes? Okay, motion to approve.
I move.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. All right, so let's start with the Fire Foundation.
Our foundation has two new board members approved. Jordan Sachs from the San Rafael Fire Department, who is medical director, has elected to join the foundation, which is pretty exciting, and I'll be meeting with him personally next month. I will also be meeting with the San Rafael Firefighters Association personally next month to continue recruiting. Hint, hint. We still need 2 to 3 more players. We really still need people who are committed to working for the fire department on behalf of the foundation. So if there's anyone you know that you think could be a player, shoot me an email and then I'll reach out and follow up with them. The second person we have is Kira McClellan, who is fantastic as well, huge experience in foundation work. And she also is a neighbor to the firehouse out at Loch Lomond. And that was what brought her to the table, that all the goodwill that was created by the firefighters at that firehouse towards her family made her want to give back. So really excited that we've got 2 strong new people, but still beating the bushes for anyone that would be a good add to the board. And then as well, the next step is, of course, beefing up the committees that do the volunteer work on behalf of the foundation. So there you have it.
Okay. Any fundraising activities or other activities from the foundation coming up?
We're waiting to see what the department puts as their priorities for their wish list, is what I'm calling it. And I know the chief is working with the Firefighters Association to draft the list, hopefully not too big a list. But as far as what the department would like to see the foundation do on behalf of the department, they want to have a mission statement to be able to say to the public, this is what we're striving to achieve, rather than just, hey, we want your money. No, this is what we want to do for the department. So we're really holding off on making any serious plans for that reason, so that there can be a definitive goal that we can put up on the website and also say to the public, this is our agenda for 2025 and possibly into 2026 as well. So I know that they've held off on really pushing for funds and planning anything, not knowing exactly what the department would like to see us do.
And one of the things I did on the labor management meeting that I had like a week ago or last week, I forget what day it was, but one of the things I suggested is that we create a committee, both management and labor side, to funnel those requests through there. So overall, that committee gives the overall objective and the vision that they have around that, and then our recommendation is that we then move it to foundation. The foundation can do whatever they want to. They could filter it or cut it off or say no and stuff like that. But it felt a little disjointed, because sometimes the Firefighter Association would go to it. A couple of years ago, I went over there and requested personal protective equipment for my rescue swimmers, and then you would have individuals also, so just wanted to be able to corral that in a little bit and then align it and then to have those requests so that they almost fall within the mission of the port, not almost, but they fall within the mission, and I'll reinforce what the commissioner says is that we have to be focused on the goals of the organizations, not individuals. So a lot of times the requests were driven by the passion of the individual rather than the need for the fire department in general. So balancing that and kind of redirecting that way, I think it'll be a lot more productive. And I told my folks, actually, I don't want to be part of that committee. I actually want to be, if I have something, I'm going to go to the committee and submit it to that process for you guys to filter it to the foundation. So that's what we're having a conversation around now, that part of it.
And the thing that everyone should remember is that the foundation only works on projects that are above and beyond what's already supplied by the department. So, for example, the fireboat, that won't be ever an option to go on that wish list because the department already has received not one, but 2 fireboats from the foundation. It's an existing entity now, so they're not gonna kick in again for another fireboat. It's gonna be something new. That's good for you to know. That's off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did get a grant for that, so
Hey.
we're gonna get placed down.
For an additional boat or a new boat?
A new
On you
boat.
both.
Huh?
And I haven't
Maybe
announced, I haven't announced it yet, but that only because I'm still running through the. One of the things I found out that we don't have a procedure on how we get this to council, because there's matching funds around there, so we're trying to find the matching funds, trying to follow that, but what I can share with you is about $1 million that we got for a new fireboat.
And what's a new fireboat gonna run?
About 1.4,
That's what I thought.
so.
Are there additional incremental capabilities of a new boat versus the existing boat, or was the existing boat just getting too old?
It doesn't break down.
Yeah, but well, any boat's finicky, right? That they're just, it's on salt water, it's just,
Why they call it a
it's
boat.
problematic, so.
Yeah,
I
but the
think-
new boat would come with an extended warranty, would it not?
Yeah, but a lot of it, the warranty expires fairly fast on boats. I mean, it's a boat. At the end of the day, it's a boat. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of maintenance, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. But also when you need them, you need them. So,
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, all right, let's move on. So, Commissioner Chung, the 150th Anniversary Committee.
So-
Also just want to start by saying
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you. Thanks for all of you, and especially I always thank Donna because she's the one that brought me to the commission. So thank you, Donna. But thanks for all your.
actually didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. she-
We have you to blame.
Recruit.
We have, 2 things that I'm working on with, Captain Alvarez, Chief Alves. So it is the 75th anniversary of the 2 firefighter line of duty deaths in San Rafael. 2 were killed in 1950 at the Mar Vista Motors, which is now is it the Lotus Rest? It's on
Yeah, it
Lincoln
is.
and Fourth, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out a way to have a ceremony and do that, commemorate and never forget their sacrifice, but it would entail inviting a lot of the retired employees and active firefighters. So a short ceremony, a drill, and then some type of breakfast or brunch. So
What was the date?
that date on that,
The anniversary date was the 21st of May.
May 21st, yeah, so. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it exactly on the date, but we're hoping to do that. And then 9/11, Captain Alvarez has that piece of building from the World Trade Center, so we're gonna do a repeat of the reading of the names on September 11th. It'll be early. So those are the 2 things that I'm working on.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before we get into commissioner reports? All right, so I'll go last. So Ken, you want to start?
Yeah, so, so we split everybody up, doing different things with different parts of the government, and so I was teamed up with the mayor. So I reached out to the mayor, and Stan and I met with the city manager and the mayor yesterday. And we had 3 things really that we wanted to cover. The first, most important was we wanted to make sure that we were all in alignment so that if any tragedy took place, a massive wildfire took place, we didn't have a situation like we saw in LA, where the mayor and the fire chief and city council were just all in all, right? We just wanted to say, hey, anything that takes place at the fire commission is gonna be 100% lockstep with the mayor and the fire chief and everything. So like, if you're standing there in the emergency center, and you've got MSNBC, there's some big wildfire in Marin, California, right? All these people firing questions, and he's gonna have no problem saying the fire commission, the mayor, we're all aligned, right? Just wanted to say that, verbalize that to them, and it was really interesting the way they responded, and this is a joint task force here. They responded like, hey, that's nice of you to say that, but we have 100% confidence in our fire chief. And that there would never be any hiccup between us, whether it's the mayor or the city manager or the chief, we're all aligned. If he makes a decision, we're behind that decision. But it was just really reassuring. It was like, these people really have their act together. There's not gonna be, they have, it was a solid triumph. So that was really cool. The other thing that I threw out to him was I said, hey, we talked about protection class 1 being at risk, protection class 2, and the trigger point being like protection class 4. And I said, hey, I happen to represent some people that got a lot of property here, the Archdiocese of San Francisco and Dominican University, they're clients of ours. I forgot all about Ray Sayufi out of Peacock Gap. That's a client of ours as well too. So that's a lot of property at risk, right? And I said, I don't know if you guys know how to connect the dots between population density requirements and funding, right, for those stations, because there are entities out there, insurance companies that can do that for you. They come in and they do modeling for you to say, hey, based upon your 5-year, 10-year, 15-year population growth, we anticipate your density to be this. So you would need from where you are here, this is what you're gonna need. They do that actuarial analysis for you. And they're like, it was a little new to them. I've done the background check and I know why they're struggling a little bit, because the way the city of San Rafael buys insurance, their broker is Alliance. And then they buy it in a big group program where there's many insurance companies that combine to put up the capacity. And so they can't really reach out to like, hey, I'm gonna call, their broker can't really call Zurich or AIG or Chubb and say, I need one of your actuaries to do this report for us, right? It's not designed like that. So I just shared with them like, hey, that we have this. I've got a report coming out for the Archdiocese of San Francisco, which is interspersed all throughout San Rafael, St. Vincent School for Boys and, all the different locations. And I'm gonna share that with them so they can see a little bit of it. And then the last thing, so we talked about those two things. Oh, and the last part was his. He killed it.
Well,
He went in for the close.
yeah, right, look, he did the sales pitch, and
Close
I
it.
got to decide. Ken and I didn't really talk ahead of time or plan anything, although I will admit, after we walked away from it all, it was like, this was our 3rd or 4th shot, which was not, it was because he had set up a meeting with the mayor. I was in the process of setting up a meeting with the city manager. And as it turned out, the mayor said to Ken, well, I'm meeting with the city manager. Why don't you meet with the 2 of us? He knew I was trying to get to the manager. So he got to me and said, why don't the 4 of us do this? And with absolute stroke of genius, the way it all came together. Showed at the same time, the coffee shop next to the theater out on 4th. I had a couple of things on my mind that I have been noodling around and wanted to get on some kind of table. What is the better table than the 2 people who really run the city? Hello. So I had a 1-page that I printed up and then a copy of a magazine. So quickly, the 1-page was an idea that I have, and I gave to them, and they're looking at it. And it's called Shop, S-H-O-P, Shop San Rafael. This came to me as an idea that is not quite influenced by what's going on in Washington but there's some pressure of that, and it is people, the population of any given area now seem to be trying to get coalesced together and kind of make their own statement as a group and set their own identity. Now, we have an identity, it's called California. Another one's called Marin County, and another one's called San Rafael. The most important one locally is San Rafael. Yeah, we share real estate on our borders with a bunch of other people who could say they can do the same thing for San Anselmo and Larkspur and Porto Madero, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I care about San Rafael. The other day, I had looking for something online, and I decided to go to the Chamber of Commerce website. Went there, they have a search process available. I plugged in what I was looking for, and I got the worst results you could imagine. Not even on the subject that I was asking about. So to me, it went, wait a minute. Here's an organization representing San Rafael. It's bigger than that for the chamber. That's what gets it mixed up a bit. I thought, what if the city had its own website called Shop San Rafael? And if you wanted to buy shoes, you go shoes and give me because everything, if you have a business license to work in San Rafael, the city already has all the data. It's just getting the data from that drawer to that drawer, and you've got Shop San Rafael. They listened to the pitch. They went, okay, that's a good idea. They had some, got other issues on the plate that are a little more important than that, but thank you very much. We'll go from there. How many remember back 2-3 years ago when the mayor started using in meetings the term together? Does it ring a bell in any way? Okay. There's a backstory to that was brought to the table that we found out where that came from. Okay, it doesn't matter here. But my point in saying in the Shop San Rafael thing was bring together back into service and make it Together San Rafael. Now that almost rang a louder bell than Shop San Rafael. Together San Rafael. And the two of them looked at each other and went, we can do that. And it made sense for them to do it in certain ways. So you may begin to see things come out of City Hall that are tagged at the bottom with Together San Rafael, just as an idea that got thrown out of the table. The last one, and the one that comes closest to what we do, all of us who live in San Rafael get a publication from the Parks Department. It's a magazine that gives the entire year of this lesson, that lesson, the volleyball courts, the times, places are open, all of that. I have looked at that over the years and realized there's nothing in there except Parks and Rec. Yet, the city is paying to publish a magazine and deliver it to every front door. So the closing pitch, because we're running out of time, and I say the magazine was sitting like that, and I had material in the backside. And I said, "You're familiar with this?" And they went, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, I want the back 2 pages." And I stopped, and they kind of looked at each other and why? What I had done is I had taken some flyers from our department and printed them up, did a mock-up of the last 2 pages, and it's fire safety material that, the spacing around the real estate, steps to take, how to be ready, scope packs, defensible space, all of that, in 2 pages. And they looked at that and said, "Sure, we can do that. We'll do it." So next time the magazine comes out. Now, my question, so that I can kind of close that door with them, is who in the department would be the one to create the material. Does that come out of Quinn's? Okay, I'll talk to her. Yeah, sure.
But Stan, you should have said you wanted the first 2 pages, not the last 2.
No,
The cover.
no, no,
I'm
no,
teasing you.
no, I'll tell you what. I understand exactly what you're saying. In the world of commercials, the one thing that people remember is the last thing you said.
So the one other thing that
Yeah,
came
go
about
ahead.
when you were talking about that, you know, you went in, you wanted to search for an Italian restaurant and it came up bad, right? So they you'll find this in the range, they put a tremendous amount of money and effort in this new AI platform called CityBot. So they're doing cities all around and they're grabbing all the websites from all the different stores, restaurants, everybody, chamber of commerce, fire department, police department, and they're combining it on that AI platform. So CityBot is doing it, grabbing it. So if you use AI and you put in Italian restaurant in San Rafael, you're gonna get a better result than what he got here, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that integrates into like Chat GPT or?
Yeah, that's what they're, yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly what CityBot is doing for these cities around the United States, getting them into Gemini and different
Yeah.
AI.
Bottom line, it was a great meeting, and they were hoping to have it happen again somewhere down the road, not every month. That's not, they don't have that kind of time. But based on the premise of, let's just. be on the same page.
Where did you meet and how long did it last?
The Aurora, right next to the
Aroma Cafe.
Bell Tater
Shop?
Coffee
How long
Shop.
would you say you were there?
Alan,
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
does that bring true what I said about their support of you?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
You know,
no, for sure,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure,
they-
and like I said, the premise on why we wanted to do this, establish that relationship, right?
Yeah.
We don't have any asks yet, we will have asks, but establishing that relationship right off the bat, it's really crucial for sure.
Yeah. No, it-
And know who you are, know who they are, and you know, that kind of stuff, I think that's, if I go back on, well, my uncle was a lawyer. And he said that most of the deals that he made were not at the court or in the office, were
Sure.
having a social drink with somebody, and he made a lot of deals that way.
Not surprising, yeah.
Any insight from the mayor or city manager in terms of, how we can help them, from the fire commission and providing them any information or support in any way?
No, they got it.
Yeah.
They pretty much got it.
These two women, they're sharp, they're on their game.
Yeah.
They know we're here.
Yep.
If they needed something, they'll reach out.
Good PR.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And great idea about getting that into that mailer that gets out. I think we had looked into in years past,
Yes.
putting an advertisement in there for the grab feed.
Yes.
But the lead time is extremely long. And I think it's published once a year, or twice a year.
Certainly once a year and maybe twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
And there could be some graphics that Quinn has, because I think there was an all resident mailer a few years ago that had actually some great illustrations. Okay.
Like this. right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, this is spectacular.
Yeah, be great. Okay, anything else? We kind of merged both of your reports, but anything else in their reports? Okay, all right. John, you're next.
So last week had lunch with, over at PSC, and Chief talked a little bit more in depth about this resource deployment study. Specifically this house, his strategic plan, informal strategic plan is to get 54 truck over more centralized, yeah. And then adding an engine and an ambulance here. So, we were just talking about how we might be able to finance that, the budget increase. And I saw, Councilwoman Gulati, district, and told her, I said, we should meet up and talk about, expanding fire department, adding an engine and an ambulance here, because I'm with you 100%. As soon as I said that, I'm with you 100% because the city's growing and we need to keep up with the city's needs. So that was simple. So we're gonna find a time to meet up and.
Great, thanks.
So, you all have heard me talk about networking with your local firehouse and going by to see your crew and getting to know the people at your local fire station. How I found John was by doing that. That I like to go to my local firehouse, hang with the captain and crew, just visit with them. And in so doing, they turned me on to, Carolyn DeResident, who's the chief of fire in South San Francisco. So I met with him for coffee. Then he turned me on to John. I met with him at the Civic Center, and the rest is history. But it's that networking with your firefighters where I keep coming up with wins. Jordan Sachs was again.
Information all came in through a Sacramento governor on site.
Jordan Sachs was the same. It was literally going down to the firehouse, visiting, and it kind of came up by the by. Oh, you might want to contact. So I beg you guys, help me out here. Go meet with your firefighters, talk with them, and in so passing, bring up the notion of the foundation and might they know someone that you should reach out to that might want to do some volunteer work for the community. So I just wanted to share that it's that relationship building with our firefighters that's been, for me, really gratifying. Here we have it. The other question I had is, we received the document that was presented at the last commission meeting. And are we able to release that? Like, for example, I would like to share it with the Fire Foundation and or fire captains. Is that permissible?
So the only reservation I have is that we haven't presented that to council.
To wait.
Yes, I would
Cool.
prefer to wait at this point. I think you're, as a commission member, you're entitled to that information for sure. Because that you are the fire commission. So I would rather hold off on that until we present it to.
And when will I know that that's been done?
Well, I will let you know because I'm also gonna invite you guys to the
Yeah.
council
Okay.
meeting.
For real one?
For real. Yeah, for real this time. For real this time. So no, it isn't. So one of the conversations I've had with the city manager is that we want to marry up that with the paramedic tax increase. So marry that up also. So we're trying to figure out how strategically how to place that into the city council. But originally we were gonna go to the finance committee, and actually, you know, through a lot of discussion, we agreed to actually present the council, which for me, it's much better presented to the council because then I got all the members, all 5 members, rather than just 2 members of the finance committee on there.
So the firefighters have not seen it at this time?
Correct,
Okay,
correct. They heard me talk about it, but they haven't seen it at this
got
time.
it. And then, I wanted to share with y'all, I'm really excited that Thomas got me up to speed on what's happening with the Big Mac drone. And they're doing Skydio training this month virtually with Skydio, who's out of Mountain View, because remember, my gig is, it's gotta be made in the USA. So the drone was definitely made in the USA. We therefore have no problem with government agencies saying it's a Chinese drone, so we're good there. So that's happening on the 18th with training with the crew, the drone people. And then on the 24th, they're gonna have their maiden launch of the Big Mac. And then Thomas is gonna create photo ops and video that I'll be excited to share with all of you. So it's coming together. We're getting it there.
We're excited. And we have there's 3 of us now that are pilot certified by the FAA for drones, so with a couple more working on it.
It'd be great to document like the first time it's in use and serving, you know, the purpose.
Right,
If
yeah.
there's a story behind it, that would be great, and
Well,
maybe even cheap through social media and other
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
we can-
The the bottom line is, let's use it to market, right? It's a great marketing opportunity to help the foundation see the work that we're doing and get excited about it too. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Donna. Chief Barber?
Yeah, I met with my contact, Councilwoman Rachel Kurtz. Over coffee. And what I wanted to talk to her about was how she personally and she felt the city council made decisions. What kind of information would they need to make an educated decision? Thinking that, we're collecting data now about growth and fire department calls coming up. I wanted to make sure that I understood so I could pass it along as to what at least she was looking for and in the broader sense, the council, right? So we could get that information, and we could give it to them so they can make an educated decision on what they want to do. I met with her on that, and then she asked me to contact the South San Francisco retired fire chief that lives in there, because apparently they're having some pushback on the wildland fire protection. There was a lot of questions that are going on. And he, I don't know if he's leading a group that's trying to address that. But being is that I grew up in Terrell with Donna, and have all that experience. She thought that I could be a resource for it. So haven't heard from him. Well, I did hear from him. I sent him, well, my background was. Thank you very much. She also asked me to attend a Firewise meeting at Loch Lomond with our with Joe. Yeah, and his crew. And I did, and it was interesting to go there because my experience, I had the answers to a lot of questions. But I didn't say anything because my job was just to go there and observe, and let Joe run with it. So I made sure that I didn't step on anybody's toes. But it was interesting to look at the audience, because the audience the average age of the audience is probably 65. Which then that's the visual realization of where we're going with our customers, and then they asked me to come back for April 15th or 16th, bigger event that they're having. But I was there strictly, I had on fire commission stuff, so people knew that was there representing. So it must have gone well because I've asked Councilmember Kurtz for another meeting, and I haven't heard back from him.
They have the Department of Insurance there.
Pardon me?
Remember the?
Oh, yeah, that's
That's
right,
a
yeah.
Firewise.
Yeah, they had
DOI.
somebody from the Department of Insurance.
That's when people started to leave.
They did. But we're dealing, again, everybody knows we're dealing with an aging population and we're bringing in more people. And basically the fire department growth has been static. And we're kind of at that tipping point of we're gonna have to do something, otherwise our response times are gonna go up. I mean, right now they're livable response times. But with this growth coming up, we're pushing the limits. And that's what I wanted to make sure that when I give information to a city council, I've got the data to support it. And what is it they need to know so they can make that decision. So I'd recommend that we all kind of do that. Because the big thing coming down the road is where are we gonna get the funds and the money to provide local service that we're already providing, adequately, kind of.
there were two documents that, Chief Senate, you have provided to us at the meeting last week, the major project with, potential impact.
And
That
that's
was one of the
confirming
documents,
from
and
Michael.
then the other was,
Okay, Michael?
the messaging, water system, firefighting operations, evacuation, wildfire mitigation. So these two documents are great. I think there's some of that, until the standards of coverage report goes before council, if we're having these meetings in that interim time. These two documents, I think would be entirely appropriate to
Absolutely,
discuss.
they're-
Yes,
For your information and to help you communicate with
Yeah.
either council members, elected people, or anybody else. It's a little bit of background and understanding as to fire department operations and development that we're looking at here in the near future.
yeah. These are great. Does everybody have this? Okay,
If you don't, let me know.
yeah.
Would you resend them?
Sure.
Or Thomas, maybe you can attach it to the next. Sure. Meeting agenda. Okay, thanks, Chief Waterbury. Any other comments or report?
I'm working with Chief, I'm trying to dig up, historical data that, on things that, that we're dealing with now. So he has an idea of what we did back in like the year 2000. A report very similar. The
And
data
more,
changes,
more,
but
change out
we got that comparison. So
35.
I'm doing some research to find those reports and bring them in, and meet with the chief. So he has more information.
Ryan, you made me think of a question that we talked about last meeting. Any forward motion with Centerville merging with Redwood Fire?
So right now, we're still in the ad hoc committee arena, so we have a meeting coming up next week with everybody, both the ad hoc committee from the Marinwood side and the ad hoc committee from our side, which is the mayor and Councilmember Kurtz. So there has been email exchange back and forth of actual money, how much it's gonna cost, which is what we needed to have that initial conversation, and then we'll start figuring it out. The person that's been tasked at the city manager's office, it's the deputy city manager, that's Angela.
So it's in motion.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's in motion. There might be a feeling that it's not urgent, it's urgent, but it's just at the political level now, so you know how that goes, it slows down a little bit.
Is that something acceptable to talk to with council members, how the commission feels about it?
I mean, that's up to you, it's a personal, I mean, I don't think there's no direction that I have or desire or anything to make, even for me as a fire chief, I'm a neutral party right now.
Right,
My overall job is to provide everybody the information for them to make the decision on where they want to go with this. And I really am like neutral on it, like, you just tell me what you want me to do, I'll provide you as much information. Obviously, the overall reality is that we far better suited if they were under Centerville.
understood.
And just like, time that your code trooper, especially for your email with like. saying-
What's the benefits of Marinwood and the Marinwood population of incorporating into the Centerville Fireworks? I know the district will stay there, but.
As far as having that engine company?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess.
Well,
what I'm saying is-
it's 3 additional personnel
And how do you, I mean,
and that are trained at our level.
yeah,
So that makes significant difference right there. It's an extra resource. If I'm looking at the area growth of Terra Linda, that's our 3rd engine that goes into that area there. Now, we count them in there right now, but really it's questionable because if it's even in what we have in our agreement, it always says when available. So there's no requirement for them to respond. It's when they're available. So in theory, they could actually say we're not available and be upfront. I don't think that'll ever happen. So that's part of it. There's a small part of land that the city owns, or city property that's off of Lucas Valley that we can't get to unless we drive past their fire station. So the huge benefit for us, for them to be able to protect that area on there. I think there is mutual benefit. I mean, at the end of the day, if everything broke down, I think we'd still seek to have some kind of agreement with them. If this didn't get passed, there'd be some kind of agreement where we would fee for service where they cover our calls in certain areas.
so what do you think it is that's holding them up from moving forward with us?
That's money.
Is it money? They want money or?
Well,
We're asking-
here,
think we're
let me give you a
asking
quick example. They spend around $2.3 million right now on their staffing. If they go to, San Rafael, it's anywhere from 2.4 to 2.9, almost $3 million there. So there's a delta there that nobody was gonna wanna pay. So that's what we have to figure out.
2.4 is what Marinwood's currently spending themselves.
2.1 or something like that.
Gotcha. So it's a shortfall that the city would have to pick up.
Correct. Or negotiate with the county or somebody, because some of those areas that Maroonwood covers, those are also county areas up there. So negotiating that, which would be my preference, that we negotiate, that they allow us to negotiate it on their behalf. That way we're cutting the delta a little bit smaller and smaller. At the end of the day, we're gonna be on the hook. The city of San Francisco's gonna be on the hook for something. But if over 50% of their calls are ours anyway, it kind of makes sense to be able to do that.
And how many years would you say this has been on the table?
1973,
Oh, a half a
Yeah.
century.
yeah.
Time to
Yeah.
do the deed.
And the situation with the Ringwood Fire Department continues to deteriorate. They cannot sustain themselves as a
Right.
fire department. They constantly are at a staffing shortage. They continue to recruit unsuccessfully because candidates looking for fire service careers don't look at agencies like Meridian. There are so many opportunities now for candidates to look at. You can pick and choose. So Marinwood, based on the size of the agency, the call volume, the limited opportunity for growth, and the pay, basically are all deterrents for job applicants. So they're constantly at a staffing shortage. San Rafael is constantly bailing them out by staffing their engine. I think you mentioned, or one of your comments was, what are the benefits to Marinwood? And I think the benefits would just be immediate and substantial because they would get fully staffed 24/7 San Rafael level engine company with a paramedic on board. And those are things they just don't have right now. They're
And they're-
running on a shoestring.
And they're aware of that, right? I mean, I was thinking, like, how do we sell this?
Right,
To
that's a very
them
good question.
That are like, oh, God, that's way too much. You know, our little community here, we don't want to be part of San
And
Rafael.
I think that, and I know that's been an issue in the past. I think that's done.
Okay,
We haven't heard one person say that we don't want this. That's the board member, staff there, staff here, our elected officials. Everybody says, yes, we need to do this. So I think those were some of the battles that probably you fought during your time,
Yeah,
yes, Chief. We don't have that anymore. We have
Good.
alignment on wanting to move this thing forward. And I think, like, the reality is just money, try to figure out where the money comes.
yeah, okay.
So-
No,
And I think visually, nobody's gonna notice a difference anyway. Operationally, and from a service standpoint, they will. But visually, it's still gonna look like the Marinwood Fire Department. The station's still gonna be the same. It'll probably still say Marinwood across the top, but it does say engine 58, which is one of our numbers. So, you know, it's a quasi San Rafael Fire Department right now.
And we do back them up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go to one of their fires and most of.
Well, we're
see
even
it
like,
in San
we've increased that now since they don't have staffing and they sometimes staff the engine with 2 people. We automatically spawn one of our engines up there to back them up.
And a chief officer.
Yeah, but that's just for simple medical aid. Another engine's headed up there with a paramedic, San Rafael paramedic going up there.
I mean, they're completely dependent on San Rafael. If they have a fire, an actual like structure fire, they can only dispatch one engine. That's all they have. San Rafael supplements the rest of the balance of the assignment. The chief officer, the engine companies, the ladder company, the paramedic units, anything and everything they need. They cannot function independently as a fire department. So,
And is the delta, Chief, that you mentioned in the expense,
Correct.
is that the different pay scales or?
Yes, if we're
And
just
is that
talking
it,
about
or-
that, so this part of the negotiations piece. Now, this is just, I'm just talking about the actual staffing, how much we pay an individual to sit there at the fire station. What we haven't discussed is the amortization of a fire engine over a 10-year period, 20-year period, the maintenance of a firehouse, all that stuff is still open-ended on, and then even this part of it, but if we just look at the flat rate of how much it costs for a San Rafael firefighter to be in there, as compared to a Marinwood firefighter, that's the delta that we're talking about right now.
Did they receive any of was it Measure C, the funding?
Yep.
So
For,
their houses has been upgraded?
Well,
as
it's-
the others?
it's us doing the work. Are you talking about the physical space and that kind of stuff?
Are you talking about Measure E?
Measure E?
No,
Yeah, okay. So it's still an older house,
Yes.
yeah. And how many personnel, did you say three?
Well, they have
Three shifts?
They have 3 shifts of 3.
Okay.
But right now they're down to 4 or 5 people. Because of injuries, we have 2 on long-term injuries. There's one we just haven't been able to hire. Actually, what I did do, I took over their hiring process and we have one person actually going through backgrounds right now. So we're hoping to get that person here. I think we're shooting for May 1st. But we basically, we're not gonna, we've taken it under our wing that it's our equivalent to what it would be for a Seneca firefighter. And then we'll release him when he's ready. But we're not gonna release him until then. So once we're done, obviously we're gonna send him an invoice for the background investigation and all that kind of stuff on there. But we're taking responsibility of just getting that person through the process as fast as possible. Which has been the big change for sure. We're not waiting for somebody else to do it. We're taking charge of that. So we'll see how this young man does, but he's coming in on May 1st, so there'll be a firefighter that'll be covering that as well.
Question for you, Chief Senator, like 25 years ago, how many departments were there between Novato and the Golden Gate Bridge? And how many-
Substantially more. I
Yeah.
mean, what's happened is, thank goodness, we've seen regionalization take over in Marin County. It used to be, fire departments wanted to act independently. And we had a lot more fires back then, a lot more bigger fires back then, because agencies tried to handle things themselves. It was ego driven back then. And finally, thank God, the fire service in Marin saw that regionalization has to occur in order to respond to emergencies more efficiently and more effectively and in a coordinated fashion. Meaning that Marin really can act as a single fire agency. We all train together. We all have the same equipment now. Everything's standardized. So we've seen agencies now blend together either through full-scale consolidation or through automatic aid agreements. But the momentum is building, and it's time now for Marinwood to step up and kind of
And the fire,
join San Rafael.
the fire service has changed. Since 1973, they were partially volunteer or mostly volunteer, and it's
Yeah.
changed to that. So there's a lot more complexities, not just on the funding, but also the policies, the labor issues. God forbid they have a fire there, as far as managing it through, for us to get grants and stuff like that to be able to manage the actual fire. It really puts them in a absolute vulnerable position that and they understand that they don't want to take that on anymore. That's from the board members also, so they understand it's complex and it's way beyond their capacity at this point. I mean, they're really good at Parks and Rec, and they have probably one of the best Parks and Rec department in the county. With the swimming and all that stuff that they have there, but really for a fire department, it's really outgrown their capacity for sure.
Has there been any impact on us when we're banking them up?
Yes,
How has that impacted us?
so it's impacted us in the fact that obviously we're sending 2 engines up there instead of just one to back them up. Now, the impact is short. We don't have actual numbers on how much overall it's impacting us, but we do feel a little bit more stress on there. Because we're sending additional engine. So traditionally, we would just send engine 58, which is the Marinwood engine and an ambulance. Now, potentially, if they're not up to full staffing, we send engine 58 with their staffing, whatever they have, an ambulance and then a 3-foot. So there is an impact there. Our firefighters have been really, really receptive to it. They understand why we're doing it. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are listening to the radio and actually launching a preemptive attack, just knowing that they're gonna head up there. So I think everybody's been real respectful and professional about how it's come to us. So I just, really appreciative of the firefighters at this point for them taking that stance of, usually you can take it as, oh, it's another drain, another call, but they're really taking it on as like, it's our responsibility to go up there and serve them with pride. So,
Is it mainly 57?
yeah, 57, 56.
Yeah.
I think,
56,
yeah.
probably, right?
Depends on the other medic, it's just depends on the medic goes out, it's out, and the engine down, so it'll be 7, it's just toss up. But it could be all hours of night or 2 hours automatic, 3 hours automatic. We send paramedic service to paramedic.
Yeah. Thanks, good conversation. Steve, I think we were in your report. Anything else? Okay, all right. I'll jump into my report. One question is, did one of us for the council and mayor meetings, did one of us meet with Councilmember Bushy? Did you, John?
It's mine to do
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I
okay.
tabled it waiting to try to get the wish list.
Okay,
And she's on vacation right now, so she's gonna be
Okay.
gone anyway. She's
Okay.
gonna be gone for a month or so.
all right, great. Then I have, Councilmember Hill, so I got the easy one because he's a former member of this commission, so we're gonna be meeting on Friday, probably within the next 1 to 2 weeks. So look forward to, discussing these with them, and I think it will be a pretty educated conversation, just given the background. A couple of things. One thing, I kind of stumbled upon this, but the YouTube video from the department, the recruitment video, I thought that was really slick and super nice to come join our team. So kudos to the department for putting that one together. Let's see, one other thing that I wanted to mention was just public awareness. So Chief, you know, I am ready, willing, and able at any point to help with some of the social media planning, the other fire safety awareness, you know, some of the things that we've talked
Yeah.
about. So, you know, if
So we're actually having our first meeting Monday morning, Monday or Tuesday? Second is on Tuesday. So I'm meeting
Okay.
with those folks to get it together. We had some preliminary conversations, and you'll start seeing more stuff. It's actually starting to come out on social media, because we're just starting to do that kind of work now. But we want to bring you on board. We want to have some kind of redundancy.
Mhm.
And the redundancy is the fact that if somebody's not available, somebody else is capturing it. And what we noticed through social media, if it's not active, nobody else is reading it.
Yeah.
So it's really important for us to keep it active throughout. Just as important as getting the message out is just getting some kind of message out there.
Consistency.
And consistency and some cadence around it. So
Yeah.
we are meeting on Tuesday to discuss that with all the stakeholders. And then once we get that, we'll have a meeting with you.
Okay.
To kind of get some direction out there. One of the things they invited me to the meeting originally, now because of, they want to hear my leader's intent around it. Rather than what they suspect that they need. And my leader's intent essentially is creating the story, for us to be storytellers through using social media on there.
Mhm.
And we do see that there's a decrease in emails, complaints, or anything like that when we carry the narrative instead of letting somebody else carry the narrative on our behalf.
Yeah.
Hold the IT account.
Did you think about that?
No, the Instagram, sorry, I heard IJ. That one is Chief Hatfield.
And that's one,
I think
that's
he's
one,
working with Chief Alviso too.
yeah. So we had, and then what were you in charge of?
I'm next door and
Chief, what did you
Chief's
have?
Twitter.
And Twitter? Yes.
Well,
He was backup.
yes, we can use Twitter. We do have a Twitter account.
So you see what the problem is, right? We didn't have a centralized version of this, so my leader's intent is we centralize it, figure out what that message is. And then figure out in the storytelling, where is it appropriate? Is it a YouTube video? Is it Nextdoor, or is it X, or is it some other format? With also cautioning them that we probably have to look at this every 6 months based on the technology that's coming out there, the AI technology, being able to leverage that, being able to leverage any other platforms to be able to move that thing forward. So what we can't do is what we're doing right now is playing catch up. We need to be at the forward part of this and then figure out, and the storytelling is a huge deal for me because I believe in carrying the narrative. But the storytelling part is what's appropriate, where is it appropriate to have this? Is it on what platform is it?
Mhm.
And then the other thing is that what we if we have Chief Senate there, he does a really good job at developing the press release.
Press release.
Yeah.
And we haven't done that. I mean, we depend on him highly, but if he's not around, guess what? There's no press release. And so kind of creating that part of it also. So all of this is important on us to get the message out there.
Okay.
But this all helps with us progressing the organization forward, addressing the issues of development. If we have more support that we have from our citizens and the commission and stuff like that, talk about alignment. If I have alignment with the commission, if I have alignment with the city leadership and mayors and politicals,
Mhm.
guess what? There's nothing we can't do at that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
other than making some money. But we'll figure that part out.
Okay. All right, the last question I have for the group is, one of the things that we talked about is when we meet at the Public Safety Center, bringing in a guest or multiple guests. I think there were a couple that we had talked about before, and Chief Senate, I think you had mentioned potentially a representative from the Water District.
Sure, I can pursue that if you'd like.
Yeah, well, what does the group feel? I mean, that's kind of one option. Ken, I think you had mentioned somebody from Bradley.
Travelers and archery insurance.
Okay. What did you say?
Matt Sampson.
Yeah, he's on the board. I think I'd probably
You-
rather
you-
go with somebody from engineering
Oh.
to talk about the actual
Water.
water system
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah, I think part
But
of that was,
he's an impressive individual, that's for sure.
I think part of that conversation was around just the situation in Southern California, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
educating us so we understood a little bit better about that and the
Right.
tenders and
Mhm.
all the
So
infrastructure.
just let me know when you'd like that and I'll work with it.
And then one other option could be the SAFE team. That was one that I thought it would be interesting to hear from somebody there. So we can do these sequentially, or, when we're meeting at the Public Safety Center, but does anybody have strong feelings or does
Do the water district next. Next month.
that make sense?
If, what's the intent?
Education, yeah.
Education for us?
Yeah,
I also have a suggestion, maybe catch a day when Chief Bernard is working, because he can talk about apparatus, the process.
okay,
Yeah, another one, my suggestion would be another one, Chief, Hatfield is working on, BLS ambulance. So maybe, bring in, doing a presentation around that.
okay.
Mhm.
Great. All right, well, let's go with the water district for the next one.
I'll work on that. If that doesn't work out, then I'll let you know so we can maybe try to get another
Yeah.
speaker.
Okay.
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 I'll work on mine.
All right, yeah, that sounds great. Maybe that can be the backup. Okay, great. So Chief's report.
Okay, so the chief's report, not too much to report on. The report itself pretty much stands on its own. However, we have had some fire activity. Fortunately, nothing terribly serious. No life loss or injuries, mainly property damage. But we've had 3 fires in the past month that were, all 3 of them were suspicious in nature. All 3 of them are being investigated. Investigations continue at this time to make a cause and origin determination to see if they can identify some suspects. So that was Terrapin Crossroads. There was a fire up at the airport at a storage structure. And there was there was a fire at the Yacht Harbor, which involved a boat and a shed structure. So we also had a very interesting and complicated rescue of a car that went airborne off of a parking deck. Recently, left the parking deck, drove across the roof of the house out of control and landed in the top of a tree. And the tree and part of the rear fender were the things that kept the vehicle from falling to the earth about 40 feet below. So then
Yeah, was there someone in the car?
there was.
Yeah.
It was a driving error of enormous magnitude. Yeah. But the firefighters, an amazing and complicated rescue, but got the motorist out. Motorist was uninjured from the collision, and they were able to get her out before there was anything else like the car falling to the ground or anything like that. But yeah, very, very, very impressive work by our crews.
What time of day did that
It
happen?
was like 4 a.m.
So how does that work? You rescue the victim and then if the car is still hanging in the tree, that's no longer the fire department's responsibility, or?
We're gonna stay till the hazard is mitigated, so the tree is not a hazard. I'm sorry, till the car is not a hazard to anybody else.
Okay.
We'll stick around and if you got any resources needed, whether it's a record or whatever, but get the thing out of the tree, but that's just the easy to figure that out. And it's not gonna let it sit there and fall.
So what happened in this case too?
I was not on that call, so then.
No, we're not sure exactly. I know they call in, probably like Diego Trucking with their heavy wreckers to probably assist in removing the vehicle, but just not really sure the end result of the vehicle, but, yeah, very, very, out of the ordinary rescue, but handled very well by our crews. Like it was routine, to be honest with you, which is amazing.
What parking structure backs up to a house?
It's an elevated carport on a steep hillside.
Oh,
Private.
Below grade.
Yeah, I'm
Below
sorry.
grade
A
house.
residential carport,
got it.
house below.
No.
Went off the carport, across the house and into a tree. Just missed a large skylight, could have went into the house,
Oh.
so.
Was
That
that
one of
just-
those on Prospect. Same thing.
Right.
It wasn't 40 feet in the air,
Right.
it was the same thing. Ended up in a hot tub down below.
Steve, one other question on the first reports, the suspicious.
Yes.
Report. How, who handles the inspections? And,
The investigations.
yeah,
We have in-house trained fire investigators. They collaborate with San Rafael Police Department. They also have investigators. So it's a collaboration of law enforcement and fire. Our members are also part of the Marin County Investigation Team. So there's a larger pool of fire investigators that we can draw on if necessary to help investigate fires.
is that a full-time role for them or are they?
No.
Okay,
It's kind of an ancillary role.
yeah,
How many of our firefighters?
I think we have 4.
We have 4, so there's, one of our inspectors, a captain, and 2 engineers and a firefighter. And this is all new to us, so within the last, what, year?
Yeah.
Prior to that, we didn't have anybody. And for years, we struggled, and finally, we're able to get 4 people to volunteer, and we've supported them through school this year, and they continue on their education, but it's really, I'm really super proud of them.
Yeah.
For the work that they're doing, there's no extra stipend or anything like that, we don't offer anything like that, so it really is like really voluntary, obviously we pay them overtime if they're gonna be here. So it really, they have a certain passion for this, and we support them on that through sending them to classes and stuff like that. But the other thing they did is and I'm not sure if it was on their own or you directed this, but the fact that they partnered with the San Rafael Police Department, San Rafael Police Department, their detectives.
yeah.
They're really like, even in the last 2 weeks have come a long way just in how they're developing. So it's really a pleasure seeing them out there, how they take it and stuff like that. I'm going, yeah, we're headed in the right direction. If that's the quality of people that we have working for us, we're not gonna have any issues in the future.
No, the timing's been great because we had this sudden interest, we got them trained. The relationship with the PD just kind of came together organically. Police had suddenly a real interest in assisting with fire investigations. So we got everybody involved together to have meetings, and then within a couple of days, we had another one of these suspicious fires. So they were off and running to investigate it, so.
And then prior to us having our crew or our investigators, was it done by the county?
We would use that Marin County Fire Investigation Unit,
We had Larry Leckham.
and we had Larry.
Yeah.
Right. Really drew on his expertise as well. In addition to that report, I just want to report out on a couple of other things. Commissioner Chung, I just sent you an email on the May 10th. Let me see, let me get the name right here. It's a big event happening in downtown San Rafael. May Madness. So I just sent you an email on that. I attended a planning meeting earlier in the week. And they were asking if the fire department was interested in any involvement, and they did ask about our antique ladder truck and if we wanted to put that in the parade, and I wasn't sure if that was something that is parade ready or is something we want to
That's
consider.
we'll talk to Captain, I'll talk to Captain Northern. I know that
Okay.
Chief Bernard was talking about. Those are the 2 guys that drive that,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
Chief Bernard's in FDIC.
All right. and I have the contact person for that.
Yeah, we talked about that a while ago, so I'll make sure we follow up.
They also asked if we wanted to have a booth, an informational booth, and that might be an opportunity to solicit interest for Fire Foundation members. So we can talk about that as well.
Is it gonna be 4th Street?
Yes,
Did you pass that along to them?
yes.
There's some good live music there too.
That's right.
Large. From noon to 2.
Yeah, they anticipate over 3,000 people,
Play
and they'll
baseball.
have over 100 vehicles in the parade and on display.
I'm gonna
So
have to go now.
I think it's a really popular event.
So
When is it
Chief,
again?
My
May
understanding,
10th?
May 10th.
in my understanding, you say that if the fire
Oh.
department has the booth, the foundation would be welcome to join it.
Sure, I don't think there's any problem with that.
No, we could direct them to do that.
But there is a booth for sure for the.
Well, we haven't established one yet, but
So could you
this is
keep me in
something,
the loop
of
on that?
course.
Thank you.
10 to 2? That's the hours?
Pardon me?
10 to 2?
No,
no,
it's
it's-
actually from noon till
Noon to-
4:30 all day. But if
Noon
you're
to
coming to
7.
see me, I'm on from noon to 2.
10 to 2, all right.
We'll be there. May 10th?
Yeah.
You know that many songs?
Fourth
You'll be out
and
for 2 hours?
APT.
May Madness is what it's called? or-
May Madness, yeah.
Yes.
If you're
pretty
into
cool.
vintage cars.
All
it's
right,
pretty
I'm
cool.
gonna make sure, I'll make a point to be there.
Probability to go.
I think American.
Our booth,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just not sure yet.
Come on,
I just
Wesley.
put out,
The reason I'm asking is I'm meeting with the foundation in another 7 days.
okay, well, I'll have information before then. Yeah, I'll see if I can have it by the end of this week for you,
Awesome,
whether it's a go or no go on a booth.
great.
Okay, and just kind of circling back to development and need for fire department expansion. And that handout, that you were holding up regarding, major projects. I would say that the dam is starting to burst on major projects that we're gonna be seeing here pretty soon. What you'll see very soon is that the city issued a demo permit for a portion of the Northgate Mall, including the Sears Building, making way for the new Northgate Town Square development, which, as I mentioned to you in the past, is gonna be one of the largest developments really in modern Marin County history in its entirety. So it's a huge development. So that in itself is just going to be a major change for San Rafael. And we've looked at this development individually as how it's going to affect our operations. And as you recall, we actually had our consultant that's doing the report right now, actually just pull Northgate Town Square out and look at it independently because of its significance. There's also several other buildings between the 6 to 12 story range that are now moving forward in the downtown San Rafael area. A lot of them they're out of the gate and they're moving forward. They're getting demolition permits to demo the structures that are currently on site. So they're sort of on the fast track. So suddenly we're seeing a lot of activity and a lot of progress. And again, these are the buildings that are going to have a direct impact on fire service operations and EMS operations more specifically, because it's just they're buildings, they're going vertical now. Okay, we used to see horizontal development. Right now, they're all going vertical. And that brings in all sorts of new challenges for our crews, the need for additional ladder trucks, dedicated ladder trucks, and just the amount of EMS related activity that those are going to generate. High density, mid and high rise buildings coming to San Rafael. So it looks like now it's going to start happening. We're going to start seeing some activity later this calendar year and then for the next several years. So I think the landscape of San Rafael is going to be changing before our eyes. So
Are these condominiums or are they rental?
a lot of them are apartments, but I would say condominiums as well.
And then are some of them seniors as well, so that could increase the
Correct.
volume.
Correct.
Good or will?
Yeah.
Just out of county range, but just out of county.
So a lot of construction activity on the horizon, which will impact our fire department.
And response times.
A question out of sequence. Back to Marinwood a bit. Carolyn, made me think of it. Do we have any history that's relevant to 1972 when San Rafael incorporated Carolyn? And what that meant to us as a department?
We have Chief Waterbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
All the other guys all, retired or died.
Yeah, I just wondering if there's, not that things would be the same, but
It's a little bit different because that was actually incorporated into the city.
yeah.
So that's why it's a little bit different. In this situation, we're not incorporating Marin with the city where basically it's a fee for
Well,
service.
that has been a conversation. under
Yes,
the
it
table
has
for a
been a
long
bit,
time.
but it would be a much deeper conversation that would be a lot more complicated to do that.
There's actually some extensive writings on the Terra Linda San Rafael relationship in the Marin Fire History website that Chief Waterbury probably got information from him.
Yeah,
But it gives you a lot of detail, a lot of history on the tumultuous relationship that existed between Terra Linda and San Rafael and how it all eventually kind of came together. It's very interesting if you go to that.
I guess what I'm asking is, I wonder if there are any parallels
to what we're dealing with today.
There's some, because we did, we reached out and did some research, we did some research with MSARA, which is our retirement, folks, reached out, to local 1775, which is the fire protection for the county. So we've gotten information from all those already, on how the process.
See.
Keith, anything else for?
Not for me.
Just, yeah, just wanted, Nick, were you on that cardiac arrest, with the doctor?
Yes.
So, we did add a significant cardiac arrest save on a 46-year-old male. Cap, you mind just sharing your?
First thing in the morning, it turned out, Paul came in as a fall off a bike, right around the backside of the station on, forget the name.
Woodbine.
Thank you. Yeah, Woodbine. So, made our way over there and, we went code 3, was, you know, they give us these different code, I think it was a code 2, but we went code 3. Got there, pulled up, and I remember saying, no, this does not look good, because the male was on the ground, no helmet on. And someone just started doing CPR. It was a nurse, a neighbor who's a nurse, had some nursing background or whatnot. So I mean, literally, I think it was 3 minutes at the most that we got there and put the pads on from the monitor and delivered the shock, and CPR was continuous. And we actually got pulses back round 2 for drug intervention. So responded really well, but was basically would have been dead. Was any longer than that. And it turns out, actually, there's a neighbor that used to work with you, Chief.
Yep.
Yeah. Kept coming up to me, and I'm doing compressions. We're all doing our thing. If you want to code until the medics get there, it's pretty. Everyone has a job on a cardiac arrest. And this individual kept going, "Hey, where's your Lucas device?" And it's coming. Don't worry about it. He was very helpful. He was a medic with Chief Roman back in Berkeley back in the day, I believe, right? Yeah. Really good, really great. So all the forces came together for this individual who ultimately turned out to be an ER doc. We brought him in, and we went, go through, returned to the hospital, took the individual from the engine, we all went and brought him in, and all the ER staff guys were like, that's our ER doc. Long story short, not the next step, but the next, I don't know, 10 days later or whatnot, I took a vacation day. I went to Arizona. And Doc came down to the station and with his kids and his family. And I said, thank you. I was a party. And actually FaceTime. I was in Arizona at a horse show. I got this FaceTime from Angel, and the guy was just so thankful. It worked out really well. It apparently has no deficits. He has a history of some cardiac thing in his family or whatnot. All the stars line. So he really didn't. He came as a fall off a bike, but he basically stopped on his bike and just fell over.
Was he riding to work, or is that what he was doing? Was he riding his bike to work?
He was just raised a day off.
Okay.
Just riding with a buddy.
Wow.
Oh, so he had somebody with him?
Yeah, somebody with them,
Called them.
and his individual he was riding with said he was at the ER doc in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, didn't know that much about him. And we loaded him up, got the pulses back, and really good story.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And then you talk about storytelling. I mean, that's a really important story. And while that was significant, I think, I talked to Jason the other day, and he said we've had about 4 or 5 significant saves within the last 6 months, something like that. So this is proof of what we do every day. This is the work that we're here for. So, sometimes we don't highlight it, especially as firefighters. This is what we do. This is what we do. But really, it's important to start telling the story to the folks that are out there that don't understand what we do. They usually see the fire engine and, it's going down the road or something like that. But really there's a lot of work that our firefighters do. And the other thing is that we have extremely professional paramedics that are really good. And then we have a certain standard that we uphold. And that's really impressive. Part of it is that we have a high call volume, and, you get a chance to actually do your craft there. So I just wanted to highlight that call for sure, because this is an example of what my folks do every day and see every day. I'm extremely proud of them. The other thing that I want to say real fast is that we submitted some of our folks for EMS awards for state to the Emergency Services Agency for awards, state awards. And San Rafael did extremely well. We actually received 4 awards. Marissa Nieto Gomez, which is one of our firefighter paramedics. Graham Winkleman, another one of our firefighter paramedics, got the EMS Cross Award. And that's the state award. That specifically award is EMS Cross Award to uniform EMS personnel for actions or achievements, consistency, exemplifying the highest level of excellence over an extended duration. Basically, they've been good paramedics for a very long time, and they're recognized for that. They'll be recognized in June or July down in Los Angeles area for that. Another one is Katie Pinnell, which is our nurse. She got the Distinguished Service Medal Award, and then Dr. Sachs got the Clinical Excellence Award. So out of those, it's fairly significant that we got. I mean, it's very rare to get 1 award, let alone the agency to get 4. So this is very impressive, and I think it speaks to the way that we function here at San Rafael and the level of quality that EMS specifically in this situation on there. In addition to that, we are doing the survivor reunion this year. And I don't know exactly how many cases we have, and it's the Emergency Services Agency does it every year, and they recognize them. Apparently, I have a fair amount. Somebody told me that if it wasn't San Rafael, we wouldn't have a bunch of them. So there was a bunch of significant saves last year also. So like, I'm really proud of my folks of the hard work that they do out there. And you know, every call, but sometimes we think it's a kind of benign call, like a fall victim, and all of a sudden, you know, a 46-year-old man, the family still has a dad, family has a husband, the ER has a doctor, all these things because of us being able to do our job. So really appreciative of your support throughout also. So just wanted to mention that.
Actually, I was on 2, got a 24-year-old female, wasn't her time, but she had some medical issue, not going hip or anything like that, but, that was late last year. We're going to the survivor there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it's been a good year. It makes it all just a good feeling. When you have those balls that go so well. Balls go really well. And I can tell you, like, you know, in my career here, my long but short career, we go up to Nevada, other agencies down south. Our aim is to run all over when it's needed, you know, unfortunately. But just seeing, just kind of talking about what the chief is talking about. Our medics, well, I've seen, I'm an EMT, but I feel like I'm ahead of some of the medics in other organizations because of what I've seen, what I've been around, and the training and the passion that our medics here in San Rafael have. And I go, you know, I go to the bottom, I'm not dishing them at all, but sometimes I get a patient turnover. It's like, where did that come? You know, it's just our individuals are just so thorough. So.
All that you do.
Oh, it's a team, but I just, what I've seen in my 23 and a half years here, that's right. Very, very professional. Just from the medic Takamoto spillers, the original 7, we were just talking about Chief Waterbury for the meeting, so we have now, we hold a high standard. And in the end, the community benefits.
And I have 10 probationary firefighters right now. So to be able to have that quality throughout, actually ran a medical aid the other day on Ninja 58 area. And I was impressed with the brand new paramedic that we just got. I was going, holy cow, this kid is good. I mean, they're just sharp. And then I think all of them, I don't even have to say anything. I think that the standard has been set by their peers.
Sure. Yeah, and that professionalism makes such a difference on the worst day of most people's lives when they need the service.
By the way, I want to recognize Captain Juicy because he was part of the strike team that went to LA in January. How long were you stuck down there?
16 days, we timed out.
Yeah.
We thought we were getting released from the Palisades incident. We were all kind of, okay, we're going home, you know, it's January, it's kind of cold at night and there's Happy New Year signs all over. And it's kind of like the military, they give you a nice meal, they said, it's the sheriff had a cow fire meal, and they said, you're going to staging farther south and get ready for the wind event. And it was windier than I've never seen again, any of my life. We staged for the wind event and our strike team got relieved, the personnel on the strike team got relieved. They didn't want to release the strike team, so other individuals from our department came down and relieved us. They actually ended up going to the border fire at the. They actually fought some fire there. Unbelievable fire behavior that time of the year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And yeah, and when we came in, we were talking before the meeting, that came in on the PCH, we were looking to check
It's
in.
very short, though.
Basically, there's LA County fire engines with their deck guns, the big gun on top of that, and that's just shooting water, I mean, just burnt everywhere. I've never seen, I thought I've seen some fire in my short career, but I've never seen devastation. And where we actually got deployed to ultimately the next day was up behind Pepperdine. And we were there till they repopulated, so we were putting on hotspots, protecting, and we saw some canyon fires that pumped up, that some really unbelievable fire behavior stuff here. But the people were saying, we were talking to them, they were coming back, they were saying, yeah, that the very first day that it went off, there was nobody back there, just didn't have the resources. And we got down there pretty quick, there was tremendous amount of resources that were there. But it just moved so doggone fast. So fast, and there were areas that people could, and they got out of, but their homes were just, you know, Rob Lowe's house, Will Smith's house back there, some big shacks, Tom Hanks' house, I believe. Some big shacks, big, remote, beautiful, but nobody was there. Just moonscape.
Because I think,
Thanks for all your work, yeah.
Oh,
That was a bad day for a lot of people. Yeah.
yeah, was sad, but glad to go down and help.
Okay, any other business? Well, thank you all, thank you.
Thank you.
For hosting us here as well. I think we really appreciate coming into the station. Can we take a quick tour? Sure.
Yeah.